Hi YouTube, it's me again with yet another video. I know I just did a video at basically, I think it was the 4th of December. So this is basically just essentially what I got for Christmas, as quite a few people have been doing these. Not much in the way of game related stuff. And quite a few of the things, I think the majority of the things actually are things I bought myself for Christmas. I did get quite a lot of books this year, sort of entertainment related books for Christmas this year, but I've got a couple of books that are not game related in any way, but and at least one of them is an absolute corker. That I got from a friend, and it's mostly CDs and quite a lot of Blu-rays as well. So first up, the actual Christmas presents I got Uncharted 3, but then, like most people who played the first two Uncharted games, if you didn't already have it, then having Uncharted 3 as a Christmas present was pretty much a no-brainer. And I mean, I'm playing Skyrim at the moment. I haven't been playing for a little while, but I was playing it yesterday, and I'll be playing it again after I finish this video and have my lunch. But anyway, I was asked what I wanted for Christmas, and Uncharted 3. It was either Uncharted 3 or Arkham City, so I got Uncharted 3. So I have seen some gameplay footage of it and everything, and I know it's great. Most people are saying that it's not, and in fact I've got a friend who's actually played it all the way through recently, and he said it's not better than Uncharted 2, but you know, it's as good as. I think because Uncharted 2 was such a step up from the first Uncharted, that Uncharted 3 would have to be going some to, you know, to blow Uncharted 2 out of the water. So but anyway, I mean, still obviously a fantastic game, and of course Uncharted Golden Abyss coming out for the Vita as well soon, so, or soonish anyway. So and that possibly might be the game that gets me to get a handheld console, because I was really impressed with the footage I saw of the Vita playing Uncharted. So but anyway, Uncharted 3, and yes, it could be another game that I actually finish, as I finished the first two last year. I'm getting used to the fact that it's 2012, or trying to get used to the fact it's now 2012. Yeah, so I finished the first two in the trilogy, so the third one now, and I'll be starting that probably at some point this month, so assuming I can drag myself away from playing Skyrim or watching Blu-rays. The next one was not an actual Christmas present. I just got it from a charity shop, and so I thought I'd just put it in the video anyway. It's Zone of the Enders, which I remember seeing. Now, if I get this right, I think I had a friend who bought it back years ago when he first got a PlayStation 2, and I think it had a demo. This one doesn't, I don't think. No, but there was one, I'm sure, that had. If I can get this right, I think it had a demo of Metal Gear Solid 2, or was it the other way around? Can't remember. But anyway, I remember him playing Zone of the Enders, and when I saw it in the charity shop for like $1.99, I thought, yeah, why not? So anyway, yeah, Zone of the Enders. Now the next lot are all Blu-rays. Now Uncharted 3 I got from as a present from Jason's Face's mum and dad, as I always go over to theirs on Christmas Day for my Christmas Day lunch, and a damn good feed it is too. So anyway, they gave me Uncharted 3, and Jason gave me Silent Running on Blu-ray. Now I've had it on DVD for years, and it's fine on DVD, but the print quality of the Blu-ray is just astonishing. It really is. You know, they've really gone to town on, you know, cleaning it up and and including extras and stuff like that. In fact, these ones from the Masters of Cinema, I think it's by a company called Eureka. They specialise in doing, from what I can see of the catalogue, fairly obscure sort of, especially going back to the 50s and 60s, of sort of Asian and Japanese, French cinema as well, German, a lot of German expressionist films as well. So they're quite expensive. They're quite expensive, but they're really worth it. And anyway, Silent Running, when I saw that was available on Blu-ray, because I love Silent Running. So Jason, when I mentioned it, Jason said, right, that's your Christmas present. So thank you, Jason. Thank you very much. And I've watched it, and of course it's fantastic. If you haven't seen Silent Running, then definitely give it a view. It's directed by Douglas Trumbull, who was involved with the special effects for so many films, Close Encounters, and 2001: Space Odyssey is obviously the first one he was involved with. And yeah, great. Stars Bruce Dern, three little robots. Yeah, what can you say? Just a fantastic film, very good film. And because I'd looked at the catalogue for the Masters of Cinema, I decided to buy myself For All Mankind, a Blu-ray about essentially home videos, if you can call them home videos. Basically the footage that the NASA, or the Apollo astronauts I should say, shot for NASA when obviously they were going back and forth to the moon. It's mostly Apollo, though there is a small amount of footage from the Gemini missions as well. And it's really, really good. Another friend and I, my friend Chris and I, watched this on Hogmanay, both remarking that great footage this was, and the clarity of some of the footage, especially on the rovers on the moon, is incredible. It's really, really good. And NASA has kept all this stuff. And what they did was they actually remastered it. They've actually cleaned it up and mastered it obviously from the original tapes, which are kept frozen by actual freezing to stop them deteriorating in vaults in NASA. And you see that on the documentary. It's all explained in the documentary on it. It's a combined DVD and Blu-ray, like so many of them are these days, double play or triple play. And the soundtrack, it actually came out, I didn't realise this, but it actually came out in 1989, this film, and it's got a soundtrack from mainly from Brian Eno's Apollo, which essentially is Ambient 4 in the series of Ambient CDs. So that's another plus as well, because I like Brian Eno's music. So yeah, For All Mankind, it's very good. I mean, it's not very long, and there's not a huge amount of stuff, but simply to see Apollo footage that you've not seen before, and especially footage on the moon, is pretty cool. It has to be said. So yeah, I was really impressed with that one. This one I'd actually pre-ordered before Christmas, but I count it as one of my Christmas presents to myself. Was Super 8, and aside from watching it twice on download, special downloads, I actually coughed up the money and pre-ordered it, and I watched it on Blu-ray as well. I watched it just about a couple of days before Christmas, 2-3 days before Christmas, and yeah, I love Super 8. It's very, very good. I think most people have now seen it. There's not much more to say really about it. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. So, but if you haven't seen Super 8, then certainly rent it. If you're not sure about buying it, then certainly rent it. I loved it anyway. I thought it was really good. And the next one I bought was another Christmas present for myself. I'll just come straight to it. It's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's not like the 30th anniversary edition one, which has a whole pile of extras and stuff, because they're asking silly money for that. But I went to HMV and I got this for £7.50, and it's got all three versions of the film. The theatrical cut, the original theatrical edition, special edition, and like the 30th anniversary edition of the film. itself. There's no real extras as such, so there's like one small documentary, but just to watch Close Encounters again was great. I watch it probably at least once a year, along with 2001. I tend to watch it about once a year. I just really like it. I think it's probably my favourite Spielberg film. In fact, it is my favourite Spielberg film. Close Encounters. I love Close Encounters. So yeah, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Next two, again, I got it as part of the same 2 for 15 or £7.50 each in HMV, and that was Source Code. I did have a download of Source Code, but not a particularly great copy of a download of Source Code, but for £7.50, and I did enjoy the film. I thought I'd buy it again. It's not as good. It was directed by Duncan Jones, who directed Moon, and it's in no way as good as Moon. It's not the same sort of film as Moon anyway, but it's in no way as good as Moon. But I still enjoyed it. It's a great film. It's a really good film, and definitely worth getting. And if you can get it for £7.50, it's definitely a steal. But as I say, a very good film. So yeah, definitely well worth getting that one. And the next one I got from Morrison's, because it's got that big fat red £6 sticker on it. And I gave the heads up to Jason on this one by text, and he got it as well. I'll try. Yeah, that's right. I don't think it's now shining on the cellophane. Super, which I always think of as basically like the indie film version of Kick-Ass. It is slightly different. It's about an ordinary Joe who tries to become a superhero, but it's a lot less cartoon than Kick-Ass. Though I love Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is a brilliant film, and if you don't have that already, then you should and definitely see it. Super is a lot more bittersweet. Yeah, it's not as funny, but I really liked it. I think it's just a slightly different twist on the ordinary guy's superhero thing. But and for £6 from Morrison, assuming they're still selling it, it was definitely a bargain. And last but not least, on the Blu-ray, well, it's not actually a Blu-ray, it's actually a DVD. Oh, I was good to myself this year, and it was Carl Sagan's Cosmos. Now, I remember watching a little bit of Cosmos when I was a kid, and not understanding very much about it, because obviously I didn't watch very much of it, and I had a little bit of interest in astronomy, but essentially cosmology kind of went poof over my head, which had a lot more hair, and I'm now a lot older and bolder. I understand it a bit better. So Carl Sagan's Cosmos, it's basically both seasons of Cosmos from about 1980, and with updates. Some of the episodes have got updates that were obviously current then at 1996, because Carl Sagan died in 96. So and I've got the book as well. I just bought the book as well of Cosmos. In fact, I'll just go and get that. It's over here. Right, for wandering away from the camera there, and I got Cosmos as well. I got that from Amazon. So that's the book of the DVD, basically. So an excellent book. Obviously, it's somewhat out of date now, obviously, because obviously there have been further developments in cosmology and astronomy. But the basic book is very. I mean, Carl Sagan was very good at popularising cosmology, amongst other things. He also wrote Contact, novel Contact, which obviously, as everybody knows, was made into a film as well. So yeah, Carl Sagan, good dude. And yeah, that was about this was about $9.99 from Amazon. I think it was $9.99, something like that. I may be wrong, but it's great having it, and I've watched it all. I actually watched it all just up to Christmas, actually. So. And last but not least, when I say last but not least, I got another two books. I got this with Waterstones gift card that was given to me by my neighbour. My neighbour lady lives above me, and there's actually like a bedsit flat upstairs, and she bought this for me, and which was very nice of her. And so I used it to buy one of 2 books. I have 2 books in Craftwork, and this is the most recent one. And I've had a quick read of some of the chapters. It's quite academic. Some people would say it was quite pretentious, but I like pretentious, so it doesn't bother me. Yeah, it's basically all about Kraftwerk. Either Kraftwerk's influence on music, about Kraftwerk themselves, other people's views of Kraftwerk, and how Kraftwerk relate to the German music scene of the early 70s. You know, the whole cosmic krautrock, I know it's a terrible term, but cosmic kind of krautrock scene of which they were part, along with, you know, Tangerine Dream and Can, Neu, you know, all these people, Harmonia, Harmonia, who am I thinking of, Cluster as well. I'm now just waffling because most people are going, who the hell are you talking about? But never mind. For those who do know, this is an excellent book on Kraftwerk, and I love Kraftwerk. Easily one of my favourite bands of all time. I love them, love them, love them. And I just wish they would hurry up and remaster the first 3 Kraftwerk albums. Kraftwerk 1, 2, and Rolf and Florian. I know they're not, I think the Kraftwerk don't consider them to be part of the canon of the classic Kraftwerk albums, sort of from Autobahn onwards, but I like the first 3. They are more sort of krautrocky and more sort of psychedelic, but they are excellent. But you can see a progression from sort of improvised, psychedelic sort of improvised music towards the more purely electronic. God, I am waffling. Never mind. Another present from Jace's Faces, and wasn't expecting this one at all. He did buy me, I did get 2 or 3 books from his family, as I say, mostly about music and stuff, you know. But this one was an absolute corker, and he got me John Landis's Monsters in the Movies. It's an absolutely marvellous book. It's not exactly in depth, there's not a lot of text or anything. Not a lot of text, though there are interviews and things, but it's mostly just about monsters in the movies. Werewolves, vampires, ghosts, squids, squid, whatever. Planet of the Apes there. It's just a very, very nice book, hardback book of various monsters in the movies. And just show it there, it's just got posters there for various films. And it is an absolutely lovely book. Back page as well. Back 2 pages there. It's quite a thick book. I think it's a Dorling Kindersley one actually. So images from the Kobo collection, basically. I think that's where most of the most of the still photography and stuff has come from. But anyway, John Landis has actually written a good proportion of the text is actually written by John Landis. Some of his views about various films, and especially lots of photos. It's basically it's split into various genres of monster movies or monsters in movies. So yeah, it's excellent. It's very good. Yeah, and I would imagine you're probably able to get it a lot cheaper than it probably, because it was originally £25, but I don't think anybody's paying £25 for it these days. But if you do see it, it's definitely well worth getting. It's a very nice book, so it's well worth getting. So I was quite chuffed. I was really chuffed at getting that. I didn't expect it at all. So that was really good. So that was essentially the 2 of the 3 books that I got. And last but not least, I keep saying that, last but not least, but this really is last but not least. And these are the CDs. Now I watched a video recently, Snestastic's latest video. He was talking about his Christmas, talking about his post-Christmas video where he was talking about stuff he got, and he'd got CDs, and he got back into buying CDs. Now I've never got out of buying CDs. I always buy shitloads of CDs. I buy CDs from Amazon. I buy MP3 downloads as well of music, so it's not just CDs, I buy MP3 downloads as well. And I buy CDs from charity shops, and I buy CDs from second-hand CD shops. Basically, as far as addictions go, I mean, games obviously, but Blu-rays, but especially CDs. Yeah, I should probably seek professional help for it, but if people would just stop releasing CDs, I'd stop buying them. Anyway, the first two that I got were actual remasters, and I now have the complete set, essentially the complete set of the band Loop, who are a sort of psychedelic kind of noise band from the late 80s to sort of early 90s. I'll scratch my chin there. Late 80s to early 90s, sort of contemporaries of the Spacemen 3. And I absolutely loved them. I thought they were an absolutely fantastic band, and it was really hard to get hold of their stuff. So I've now got, this is like an Odds and Sods kind of compilation of their stuff, The World in Your Eyes, and I've also got their last album that they released, A Gilded Eternity, which is also fantastic as well. And I've got the first two, Heaven's End and Fade Out, and they're both excellent as well. So I was well chuffed at getting all these. So I've now got all my Loop albums, which is great. This one I picked up for $5.99. Pink Floyd. I've got Piper at the Gates of Dawn because I'm a Syd Barrett Pink Floyd fan. Not really much into them after that, though I have thought about buying things like Amagama and Meadow maybe. But anyway, this is Pink Floyd live 1966, 1967. And essentially it's just got two tracks in it: Interstellar Overdrive, the original version of Interstellar Overdrive, which is about 16 minutes long, and another track called Nick's Boogie. Now it's also supposed to have footage of Alistair Whitehead's, Peter Whitehead, footage of Pink Floyd actually playing Interstellar Overdrive from the DVD that's also available. But for the life of me, there are only two audio tracks. It's really weird. It's like there's supposed to be QuickTime movies on this, but they're not. I cannot find them. They're not there. It seems to be audio only, which is kind of weird. But I only paid $5.99 for it. I might get the DVD, but I'm not too bothered. And I can always watch it on YouTube anyway. But the music's fine, obviously. A lot rawer than Piper at the Gates of Dawn. But yeah, excellent. And I also picked up A Saucer Full of Secrets, remastered edition of Saucer Full of Secrets. There's no extras or anything on these, there's no bonus tracks or anything, but that's fine. It's Piper at the Gates of Dawn. I got like a 3 CD version of that with a kind of book and stuff. That was really nice. That was about a couple of years ago now, 2-3 years ago now, and that's really nice. But Saucer Full of Secrets I also like, and it's kind of forgotten about really. People like the later stuff, up to and sort of post Dark Side of the Moon, and people like Piper at the Gates of Dawn, but nobody really talks about sort of Saucer Full of Secrets, Amagama, that sort of early period after that. But I really like Saucer Full of Secrets. I think it's a great album, and it's great to have it remastered, so that's kind of cool. What else did I get? I like Amy Winehouse, and you'll see that I got it from HMV, the Princely Sam of $9.99, and it's basically Lioness, Hidden Treasures, which is basically stuff, it's sort of a cash-in really, on I suppose stuff that would possibly have been a third album after Frank and Black, and there's sort of alternate takes. Like the only thing I've listened to so far, I have listened to the alternate version of Valerie, which is really good, but I'm looking forward to listening to the rest of it. I'm an Amy Winehouse fan, and you know, I kind of gutted that obviously what happened last year, obviously with her dying, because I think that you know, nobody should be dying at that age, and it was just very, very sad, because she clearly, unlike a lot of other people, actually did have a discernible talent, not only as a songwriter, but she was actually a good singer as well. When she allowed herself to actually perform well and on time, and etc., etc. But she could actually project very well. So I know she's a bit of a Marmite kind of character for a lot of people, but no, I definitely like Amy Winehouse. So yes, I was quite happy to get that. And then I got 1, 2, 3, first 3 Björk albums on CD. I do like Björk. I quite like the Sugar Cubes. I wasn't a huge fan of the Sugar Cubes, but I quite like Björk. And I just realised that weirdly I seem to have none of her CDs. So I have now got the first 3 CDs, and I'll get around to listening to them. I've listened to quite a few of the tracks. I mean, obviously heard quite a few of the tracks over the years, but it's now just good to have them. Jason's Faces will disagree with me, because Jason can't stand Björk, but that's his problem, as I'm fond of telling him. The next one I got on HMV, and I did not expect to see it there, was Throbbing Gristle's 20 Jazz Funk Greats. It was in the metal section, funnily enough. You'll find Throbbing Gristle in HMV in Inverness, and they had the second annual report, and they had Heathen Earth as well. Anyway, I'm not much of an industrial fan, you know, or really at all. A sort of original industrial music, which is what I consider Throbbing Gristle to be. Modern industrial music, what people call industrial music, to me is more like metal rather than industrial. But anyway, semantics aside, 20 Jazz Funk Greats, classic cover. I mean, the cover is fantastic. Just a brilliant cover. Makes me laugh every time I see it. And it's very good because it's been remastered. Chris Carter and Cozy Fanny Tutti have actually, well, I think it's Chris Carter that's actually been involved in the remastering of it. So it sounds really good, and it's got a bonus live CD as well. But I think they've all been remastered now anyway, Throbbing Gristle. This is probably the most accessible Throbbing Gristle album. Yeah, and it's got Hot on the Heels of Love, which is kind of like probably the most accessible tune they ever did. Needless to say, there's not much, in fact there is no jazz funk on it, just in case anybody doesn't quite get the joke, the piss take. You know, it is not a jazz funk album. Jazz funk album, not jazz funkle. God, I need another cup of tea, I think. Anyway, and very lastly, and because I've had a marathon run of watching various DVDs and Blu-rays. I watched 2001 and all the extras. I watched the work print version of Blade Runner, and then I watched Dangerous Days, the making of Blade Runner. What else have I watched? Solaris, the Andrei Tarkovsky version. I've got the Steven Soderbergh, George Clooney version as well. So it was great to see the Russian one, because I haven't seen that one. So it was great to see that. So while I was watching all these films, and I'm going to be watching some more over the next few weeks as well, because I've got so many films that I either haven't watched. I'm just looking over there, I can see there's a box set that I got from Cash Generator of early Werner Herzog films. I like Herzog as a director, and things like Das Boot as well. Yeah, Das Boot, and season 2 of Chuck as well. It was probably not so much a movie classic, but as a classic TV program, I really like Chuck, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Definitely one of the highlights last year was watching the first season of Chuck, because I got it cheap in Morrison, and yeah, it's great. I should have watched it long before now, but anyway, because I've been watching Blade Runner, or I've now seen 3 versions of Blade Runner. Oddly, I've not seen the original version of Blade Runner. That's the one with the Harrison Ford narration, and the happy ending tacked on at the end. I've kind of seen the final cut, I've seen the director's cut, I've seen the final cut, I've seen the work print. I've yet to actually watch the original, but I will do at some point. But I've had a fill with Blade Runner recently, so to that end I got Vangelis's 25th anniversary version or edition of the Blade Runner soundtrack. So essentially what it is the original one, which I think has been remastered. The original one that's been remastered, and then it's got some bonus stuff, which I think was probably left off the original one, because the original one came out in '94, the soundtrack. It was a weird thing, the soundtrack for the film never came out at the time. The Vangelis soundtrack never came out at the time, and it didn't come out until about 1994, bearing in mind that the original movie had been released in '82. So that's what people bought, that's the only thing you could buy, and that's what I had as well, the 1994 edition of it. And it's also got a third CD, this one, which is music that Vangelis has composed, inspired by Blade Runner. So yeah, quite a nice package. I've listened to the first one, which is essentially the 1994 one remastered. Though I've got a funny feeling, and I may be wrong, but I've got a funny feeling it sounds as if stuff has either been, it could be slightly different, maybe slightly re-recorded. I don't know. I kept listening to stuff and thinking that doesn't sound quite how as I remember the original CD sounded. Anyway, not so much that it's really grading, but it's just some things, maybe just because things are clearer, and I don't know, maybe he has gone back and revisited some stuff, but I'm not sure anyway. But anyway, I mean, this was something like $11.99, I think it was, from Amazon. So if you're going to buy the Blade Runner soundtrack, then this would be the one to get, basically. Right, so essentially that's what I got, mostly myself, I got for myself for Christmas. I did get, and again from Jason, I got, which I haven't actually opened yet, but a battery operated strobe light. So it's quite nice having a strobe light. Either a disco ball or a strobe light are always good, so a strobe light. So I may feature this in one video, maybe my next video or something I might feature the strobe light. Obviously with a little warning, it will contain flashing images, just for any of you epileptics out there. Obviously I don't want to harm anybody. So that's basically the end of this video of quite incredible waffling. But I do intend at some point to possibly do a Blu-ray, a kind of Blu-ray update, just showing my Blu-ray collection, because I like films. I like all of us do. People who play games normally have an interest in movies, and almost certainly have an interest in movies and books and other media anyway, music included. So I may do that at some point, probably in the next few months. I might do maybe 1 or 2 videos, but I'll see anyway. So all it remains for me to do is say thanks for hanging on in there and watching this, and a happy new year to everybody.